One cannot hope to implement change without persuading people that it is necessary.
People must be sufficiently dissatisfied with the present state of affairs and their role in maintaining it, or they have no reason to accept the challenges of change.
And it often means challenging people to face realities they would prefer to avoid.
The first dimension is implementation of change.
Unfreezing is the start, but only the start. Most innovations flourish only if staff adopts them actively, becoming vigorously engaged participants. Change agents tend to think of their improvements as substitutions, replacing something old and worse and irrational with something new and better and logical.
But people grieve for what they are leaving behind. They cannot resolve their grief simply by substitution. They must work their way through it. If they are not allowed to do this, then resistance may stiffen and the old values will resurface later.
To help teachers develop new competence, training must be coherent, personal, and continuous. Teachers see the first stage as a matter of survival. They then move into attempting to consolidate the new knowledge to their old knowledge.
Especially vital to improvements is asking educators not just to change their materials and teaching techniques, but to change their basic beliefs and the way they conceptualize their work.
Change causes conflict among individuals and groups, largely because it creates winners and losers and upsets existing power arrangements. In many schools, these tensions are already elevated by a chronic imbalance between rising demands and diminishing resources.
Realistically, not all staff will become committed, nor will those who do become committed reach the same level of commitment in the same way and in the same time. All real change is personal, which means that it has to be accomplished person by person.
The second dimension is the substance of change. New agendas, new problems.
An innovation, particularly one that requires radical change on the part of those who must implement it, is unlikely to succeed without its being focused and clear. That is, without all key participants knowing its why, what, and how. Why the reform is being pursued, what it actually consists of, and how it is to be implemented, and its how important. How it ranks relative to other projects in which they may be involved.
The larger and more complex an innovation is, the greater the quantity and quality of change it requires of individuals, the greater its potential, but the more difficult it is to implement. Schools routinely overtax themselves, falling far short of improvements that are far beyond their capacity.
To even begin to be open to change, people must first be unhappy with the status quo in some way, and must then find the change relevant to their concerns.
Last, under this dimension, is feasibility. Teachers must not only want to implement a change, they must feel that they can achieve it.
The third dimension is staff, understanding reluctant faculty.
Often teachers become complacent in their jobs. It's just easier to go with the status quo than to make significant and often time-consuming changes.
School leaders must not just reform schools, but also revitalize staff to meet the new challenges of reform. Innovation can be a two-edged sword that can worsen the conditions of teaching, however, unintentionally, or it can provide the support, stimulation, and pressure to improve.
The fourth dimension is setting, assessing organization capacity.
Every organization is more than the sum of its individual members' characteristics. It has traits of its own that shape its performance and adaptability. These traits naturally affect innovation, both directly and through their impact on people.
So what are the traits one would wish for in a school where innovation is to occur?
First is occupational framework, which is a context that influences the design, focus, and tone of the organization and the attitudes and behavior of its employees.
Second is politics. The political context is determined by the level of trust among the participants, their degree of consensus about the school's problems, and the control and flexibility of the school.
Third is history. A school's historical track record with regard to past change efforts also influences its readiness of innovation.
Fourth is stress. The range and intensity of demands schools face and the corresponding ability to cope with it.
Fifth is finance. Some schools and districts do not have the financial means to accomplish the change.
Sixth is culture. When demands and resources are so out of balance and the setting for change is so problematic, staff morale, performance, and cohesiveness typically deteriorate, unless the culture of the school is strong.
Last dimension is leadership.
Without a strong leader, change can rarely be effectively implemented.
Locating the authentic leader or bigwig can be difficult. The world is still at work trying to locate another bigwig, Bigfoot, but some claim they have found evidence for his existence in the educational system. There he is called the authentic leader.
Transformation begins with trust. Once damaged, it is nearly impossible to repair. Leaders seeking change need to begin by thinking of what will inspire trust among their constituents. The key to both of these is authenticity. Leaders who are followed are authentic. That is, they are distinguished not by their techniques or styles, but by their integrity and their savvy. Integrity is the fundamental consistency between one's values, goals, and actions. At the simplest level, it means standing for something, having a significant commitment, and exemplifying this commitment in your behaviors. Values and personal integrity come first. At the deepest level, the values of authentic leaders are characterized by three things: personal ethics, vision, and belief in others. A firm set of ethical standards is the hallmark of most successful leaders. Savvy represents the practical problem-solving wisdom that enables leaders to make things happen. Savvy also encompasses an array of qualities ranging from knowledge of one's field to having a good nose for institutional problems, and the intangibles such as knowing what to do and when to do it. Becoming authentic. Not everybody can become an authentic leader. This leads to three implications. Some central aspects of leadership are innate and unteachable, and not everybody has the necessary potential. They must underscore the importance of hardiness. To be effective leaders must demonstrate and foster it. Nobody wants to follow a timid leader. Authentic leaders build their practice outward from their core commitments rather than inward from a management text.
Extrasensory perception, or ESP, is knowing something before it happens, which in an educational setting can be a useful tool. Clarity and focus and using the power of concentration is a tool to help overcome obstacles that occurs in change and helps you see into the future, the kind of school that you want to envision.
Studies of high-performing systems show that their leaders provide direction that is clear, strong, and unambivalent, not dictatorial, but definite. Clarity fosters commitment and garners attention, as well as fosters trust. The ultimate goal of clarity is a shared community-wide consensus about values and goals.
What matters most about vision is how much it matters. A vision's main function is to inspire people and to concentrate their efforts on the pursuit of meaningful common agenda. To be done right, formal vision work demands at least three essential requirements: lots of staff and time, which equals money, exceptional leadership skills, and a clear, focused agenda. It is time-intensive. The ultimate goal of clarity is a shared community-wide consensus about values and goals. Clarity's corollary is focus. Authentic leaders follow Peter Drucker's famous advice to concentrate their efforts on a few important areas where superior performance produces outstanding results. The important things are not inevitable, written in the stars, and discernible only to a leader with special insight.
There are three practical ways school leaders can push for focus.